Okay, this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm going to offer. Um, Before we get started, I kind of want to give a 30,000 foot view of the company, or at least the vision of the company, so that everyone understands the direction that we're attempting to head. Now, in the beginning, it's pretty simple, okay? We want to build a company that's going to help. Let's type this. That's going to help small businesses grow. And we do that by driving calls to them, leads to them. Anyone who's ever been in business, anyone who's known people in business, anyone that's hung around business, even at work at Lowe's, we all know that the main thrust of growing a business is you have to have customers calling or customers coming into that business to grow. Okay, so our main job is to help small businesses grow. Secondly, and just as importantly, is to give consumers what I call best choice, okay, of vendors. Now, this has a lot of venues into it. I won't get into all the possible directions we can take here, but there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for our company to be one of the premier companies in the United States or in the world that really focuses to customer service in a way that makes sense. Okay, now the reason is there's this huge gap between what small businesses do for customer service. Okay, they're like kind of here, and what they could be doing for customer service, which is like, way up here. Okay, they could be doing so much more. Just to give you a couple of examples, they could be sending birthday cards to their customers on their birthdays just to thank them for their business. They could be, doing rewards, especially for repeat businesses. This becomes very important. Okay, even for one-off businesses, word of mouth is still, without a doubt, the best advertising vehicle out there. And now with social media, which we will be incorporating into our venues, it's even more important. So when a consumer has to make a choice on what roofing company do I use, okay, because why? Well, first of all, most consumers don't have roofing companies in their back pockets. Maybe they've used them a long time ago. Maybe they've never used one, but because there's such a gap in time between using a roofing company, okay, and the next time you're going to use a roofing company, very often they have to start that process of searching for the best roofing company, unless they have used someone in the past. But even then, they still want to know they're getting a good deal. Okay, so consumers go through this shopping process. We all do it. We're all familiar with it. So it shouldn't be no surprise to any of us that one of the things that we can do is help small businesses that have little or no time to do customer service the right way, is to help them enhance their customer service experience by becoming that company that interfaces between them and their consumers. Okay, now these consumers that we're talking about are actually ours. Okay, and I'll show you why in a little bit here. But I kind of wanted to give you a 30,000 foot view of the overall, gist of the company, which is these two things. These two things are kind of our focus right here. Is this, helping small businesses grow and giving consumers the best choice in vendors that are local to them. Now, on the company's financial side, it's even simpler. We're looking to do, let's do some really quick math here. We're looking to do 200 cities, ranging from 100,000 in population to up to 3 million. That would be a real top-end city. We can find 200 cities in that 100,000 going forward. Now, why that range? Okay, I have to explain this to you a little bit. Why do we choose 200 cities? Well, that's because it's a nice number. There's thousands of cities in the United States, but this seems to cover the majority of this range. Okay. Secondly, why not just go for big cities like New York, Dallas, Houston, all the major metropolitan areas? That would make a lot of sense from a business standpoint to hit major cities to get a lot of volume. The reason is because we have this thing called competition. Okay. Now, competition for us is not competition in terms of actual competitors that do what we do. Competition has more to do with competitors in the field or the niche. And if you're unfamiliar with the term niche, it just means the field. Like plumbers are a niche, electricians are a niche. So we're looking at competition levels in those niches. The lower the amount of competition we have in that niche, okay, online is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just clarify that a little further. This is online competition in that niche, okay? That determines how fast or how quickly we can rank in the three-pack. And I'll go off in a minute and explain Google's search engine results page, or what we call SERP, in a minute. Okay, there's lots of acronyms in our business, but I won't bother you with all of them. Right now, I just kind of want to give you a 30,000 foot view of what it is we're doing. So 200 cities, and this has a lot to do with the competition at the niche level. And the other criteria or part of the formula is 20 niches. Now let me talk about these 20 niches for just a second. Okay, we're looking for high value, a high value product. So what's a high value product? Things that cost a lot of money. Okay, windows, siding, roofing, kitchen remodeling. Dentist, probably more specifically, cosmetic dentists that do things like Invisalign, things that cost consumers a fair chunk of money. What would be the opposite of high value? Something of low value, something where, a dollar store. Okay, we're really not looking for dollar store type products, and the reason is because of the amount of volume you would have to drive to something. I spelled value wrong. Something like that, okay? All right. That's one criteria. The other criteria is in these niches is that there has to be enough volume, okay? Volume in terms of shoppers, okay? People who do stained glass windows, really expensive, probably not a lot of volume. All right, we don't get a lot of people looking for stained glass windows anymore. So while the value might be there, the volume is not. Okay. The other part of this is we have to have enough business owners, okay, in the market. Okay. If the local market consists of three main people, we have a little bit of a problem. Okay. We might have high value, we might have volume, but if we don't have enough business owners, then we don't have enough competition created, or the ability to create this buying frenzy, or enough businesses that might be interested in the calls or leads that we generate. Okay, I can't think of any niches right off the top of my head, but you have to look at some of these. There might be only one, heart surgeon in a city that size, or there might be only one brain surgeon, or there's probably only one rocket scientist, in a city that size. So some of those business niches that don't have a lot of businesses in them probably wouldn't work for us. Okay, so high value, good volume, good population of businesses that would be competing for the leads, and then also we can take into factor things like seasonality. Okay, what's seasonality? Well, here in the Northeast, for example, we have a lot more seasonality than we do down south. So there's a really high chance that when we look at things like landscapers and roofers, and even some of the construction fields, even windows and doors, a lot of the things that are high volume, nice volume, lots of businesses. In the Northeast, we have this seasonality problem, meaning, they really only do this stuff during the summer. We have a really short season when it comes to some of these items. And while they might meet all the other criteria, the fact that they're only available for 6 months out of the year puts a little bit of a damper on our ability to deliver consistently over the course of the entire year. Now, there are lots of businesses that even in the wintertime continue to operate. Plumbers continue to operate year round, whether they're doing outside plumbing jobs or they're doing inside plumbing jobs. They don't really care. So, plumber would be a good hedge against seasonality. And while the winter months might be slow for some of their major construction projects, they still have a lot of things like water heaters. Water heaters blow up every day of the year. They don't care if it's winter, summer, spring, or fall. So, water heater leads are probably a good type of example of a niche that we would target. Okay, so I wanted to explain to you that the 20 niches, we haven't settled on them. We still can experiment with lots of them, so we're going to be looking at those. And then we have our 200 cities, which is pretty well set. We know what those are. Okay, now why is this important? Well, if you do the math on these two items, you come up with a target, and this is a target over the next 4 years of 4,000 clients. Okay, that is our inventory level. That I'll call it inventory level. When you hear me talk about inventory levels, I'm talking about our internal assets. Okay, these are things that we own. Okay, and I'll show that to you in a minute what those assets look like. But we're looking at 4,000 clients. That's going to be our eventual inventory asset level. By the way, that's not the end of the asset level, but that's a goal that I've set for, I think is achievable in the next 4 years. And that's based on a lot of variables, but it can be sped up. We could do it in 3 or 3.5 or 2. That's great. If it takes us 4.5 or 5, that's okay too. So there's some flexibility built into that, but we can scale to that level fairly easily without a tremendous amount of problems. So that's the initial goal of the company, is to build 4,000 client level inventory assets. That's a production level. It's like me saying we want to produce 4,000 cars. We want to build 4,000 houses. Whatever this is, those are assets that we want to build. Okay, and it is building production, if you will. Okay, the average client will pay us, on average, at the end of this period, about $2,000 a month. And if you multiply that out, that comes out to $8 million per month. By the way, everything we do in the company is what I really like, recurring revenue. That means we sell it once, we get paid month after month after month after month, which is really great. So when we build these inventory assets, they're ours for life, and those assets will continue to generate phone calls for technically ever. Okay, and that means that we have a recurring revenue stream there that we can tap into on a regular basis. So we don't have to keep selling something new. Unlike a lot of companies that they wake up on the first of the month and they gotta have more customers. They gotta make more sales. A Lowe's is a good example. Okay, if people don't come in the door for an entire month, they don't sell anything. They close their door. Okay, so they have no real reoccurring revenue stream to tap into. They have to rely on daily, monthly sales to keep them going. In our situation, once we sell it, once we have the inventory and we sell it and someone's paying us, they're paying us on a monthly basis to rent that asset that's generating those phone calls, which is growing their business. And therefore, this is a recurring revenue stream. I love this. I've always built my businesses around this kind of model because, it's kind of like the power company. You pay the bill month after month. Whether, if you want lights, you have to pay it. Well, this is kind of the same thing. If they want leads, they have to pay it. If they don't pay it, we just give it to one other competition, which goes back to, there has to be enough businesses in that market. So that $8 million a month, if you look at $8 million a month times over the course of 12 months, that's $100 million a year. $100 million a year company, which is a great target to go for. And why can't I get the M to go big? Anyways. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view. I am going to segue this little piece right here with actually showing you guys an example. Okay, so just bear with me. So let's go into Google's search volume. And I'm just going to type in a search, just like a customer would. Okay, let's just pretend for a minute we're a Google shopper. And we have a junk car we want to get rid of, so we're going to type in junk. Let's take the caps off. Junk car, Syracuse, New York. Alright. So we're just a customer shopping around and we're looking to get rid of a junk car. Alright, so what we have here is Google's what we call search engine result page. Now, there's one section that I haven't, that isn't showing right here, and that's the ads section. Okay, normally Google runs ads on top of their results page, and then after that comes what we call the 3-pack. Now we call it a 3-pack because why? Because there's 3 businesses listed here. Used to be a 7-pack, believe it or not. But Google downsized that to a 3-pack. Now, what does that mean? That means this is a highly sought after real estate. If you notice 2 things, one, it shows up at the top or fairly close to the top of the page. After the ads, this would be the next thing you see. And on your mobile devices, this is actually the first thing you see. Okay, the other nice thing about the 3-pack, it's very visual. Okay, if you look at the rest of the page, and if I just scroll really quickly, it's a lot of words and a lot of words. Okay, and I don't not till down here do I get any kind of pictures. So the 3-pack has a tendency to be very visual. Number one, it has a maps listing up here, which kind of shows the general area, Syracuse, New York, where these places are located. The second thing it has the company name highlighted. It has their star rating or their reputation, if you will, rated here. Okay, gives them kind of a description. It has an address, whether they're open or closed. It also has their phone number, which is very convenient on a mobile phone because you can click that and boom, you're immediately connected to that business. It also usually has some kind of thumbnail picture that is related to that business. Okay, now if you look at this 3-pack, we are ranked right here. This property or asset, CNY Junk Cars, is ours. Okay, this generates calls every single month to this client. We average between 100 and 400 phone calls per month. Okay, half of those phone calls are converted into deals for this guy, and that equates to about a $20,000 a month bump in his business. Okay, now he has expenses that come out of that, but if you're adding $20,000 to a guy's bottom line and he's only paying you $1,000 a month for it, that's a pretty good deal for any business owner. I can't think of anyone out there that would want to either stop doing that or not want to do that. Okay, so this is what really locks them in. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about assets of the company. We want to build 4,000 of these types of property that generate phone calls. Now, just to let you know, let me go to the call tracking portal. So this is a snapshot view of the calls from the 25th of March to the 24th of April. So basically in a month's time. And if you notice, lots of phone calls here, 13, 8, 10, 7, 15, 3, 2, 1, 2. The smallest amount he's ever had is 1 call, or, well, there's a 0 right there on the 21st. But for the most part, he's averaging 18, 13. So if you start adding up all these numbers in this month's time, well, you can do the math real quick. There's 19 calls right there. 12, so what are we at, 20 something, almost 30 right there, 30, 40, 50 if I add that one to that one, 50, 60, 70, 80. I'm not even halfway through the month and I'm at 80 phone calls. So as you can see, we generate between 100 and 400 phone calls a month to him, and this is just every day. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Every day these phone calls go to him. He's very happy. This section gives us where they came from, the date and timestamp, the number of the caller. Okay. By the way, this is going to become very important in the future. This number of the caller is a consumer, and I have their most of the time their cell number. Okay. And also, if I look on the reactions here, I can get call details and print them out. I can blacklist the caller if it's a salesperson, which is very handy for reducing the number of salesperson calls that come to the call center. I can call the caller, and I can also hear call replay, which is actually a replay of this phone call, and it'll give me an idea whether or not he closed the deal or sold the deal, or he didn't close the deal or sell a deal, or what's going on with that call. So some very handy information here. By the way, this happens with all of our clients. We own this system, so every one of our assets gets a call tracking number like this attached to it. So you can start to see how this asset generating these calls would have a lot of value to a business owner. Okay. It also gives us in the future a lot of information about consumers, and this is where our follow-up is going to become extremely important, and developing this consumer that's used our service or used one of our services, and developing a relationship with this consumer so that he uses more of our services. Can you imagine if Lowe's or Home Depot or any company out there really took the time to develop these relationships? I know that Kohl's spends a lot of time developing relationships with women shoppers. They use Kohl's Cash. It's an absolutely brilliant idea. They get to print paper money that women love to spend. I mean, my wife is almost fanatical about the fact that she has to go spend her Kohl's Cash, or else. I mean, it's like, but honey, it's a coupon. It's a piece of paper. You can throw it away and nothing's going to happen. But in her mind, that's real money that buys real stuff, and it does. I mean, it does buy real stuff, but it's a great ploy on their part to buy into these consumers coming back to their store repeatedly. And she does. She goes back to the store every time she gets $30 worth of Kohl's Cash. It's burning a hole in her pocket. She's got to go spend it. And where does she go? She goes to Kohl's, of course. So so we can develop in the future these kinds of relationships also. If you want to know some of the technical stuff, and I won't get into it right now, we do have tracking software that tells us how we're doing with each one of our clients. Let me just pull up CNY. I want to give you the complete picture here, kind of. So let me just go view the dashboard. And this is information proprietary to us. So this kind of gives us a ranking snapshot of how we're doing with our the keywords that we're targeting, the important keywords. This also gives us a citation report, which gives us more room for improvement, where we're not listed, what our star ratings are on some of the different reputation systems. It also ties into Google My Business, which gives us a lot of analytical data information. 68 people visited our website, 14 requests for directions, 159 calls. So right there, that kind of confirms how many calls you saw on the previous page. We got 159 calls so far in that monthly period. So, we're doing a phenomenal job for this customer, and we still have room for other things that we can do, as you can tell by this dashboard. So let me just quickly pull up this full report here on the rankings. All right. It tells me how we're doing, whether we're up, we're down, we're doing well, we're doing not so well. What I like here is it gives me the keyword that we're ranking for, the count, which is a traffic representation, which doesn't always play out as far as phone calls go, so we can't always pay attention to this, but it is a good relative compare number, if you will. So if I have a keyword that has 10 and I have a keyword that has 0, obviously the keyword that has 10 probably has a little more traffic. So that's how kind of we use it. We don't count on this number to tell me how many calls we're going to get. We just count on this number to tell me how valuable this keyword is compared to other keywords. I know that doesn't maybe make a lot of sense to you, but it's just a comparative number. This tells us our rank. The A tells us that we're ranked first in maps. Okay, this also confirms that over here. And then we're ranked 5th organically. Okay, one of the things that I didn't show you, and I'll go back to this, is not only are we ranked here in this very valuable section, which is our main target, but we often find ourselves after a certain amount of time ranking for our actual website. So here is our actual website, cnyjunkcars.com, and if I go there, this is our website. Okay, and it encourages people to give us a call. There's our phone number again, some of our social media links, which probably need some work, and then our call us, and then just some information about free towing, cash paid on the spot, no titles, okay, just little incentives, some information about our business, some reviews from clients, and we can do more with that also, and then just finish it off there. So that's our website. Let's go back to the location dashboard, and then these are the keywords that we're targeting. Okay, what's nice about this business model is we get to choose all of this. We have very little customer input. Customers really don't tell us what to do. We kind of tell them what we're doing. Okay, which, by the way, is a great position for us to be in, because let's say the customer was typing in junk cars for cash, Syracuse, New York. We're only ranked number 8. We're not ranked we're ranked number 6 on the maps, so we're not in the 3-pack. And this is what he would consider his main keyword. Well, it's not a main keyword for us, but he wants it that way. We'd start having a conflict because it looks like we're not ranking where he wants us to be. So this will tell us also what opportunities we have. If you notice over here, we're ranked 6th, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 13th, 10th. These 4s especially, they're one position away from popping into the maps. So what does that mean? That means that we just have an opportunity if we can pop these into the map section. So it tells me we have a little work here to do. Pop those into the map section and more traffic, right? We get another 10 here. If you whatever that translates to in phone calls, I don't know, but we can monitor that and say, listen, if we can pop these 2, maybe we can add another 10, 20 phone calls a month to this guy's call volume. Okay. Now, is he unhappy with what he's getting now? No. If we didn't do anything, he'd be perfectly happy. So, 159 phone calls, he's not sniveling about that at all. But from our standpoint, if we were able to pop some more phone calls in here, what does that mean to us? Well, that means we might be able to bring on a second customer. Maybe this gentleman can't handle all that call volume, and we can add all this additional call volume to our traffic, and he's overwhelmed, and we add another $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month client to our bottom line by splitting these phone calls off and sending them to someone else. We can do that. Okay, we can do things like that. So there's really no limits to the stuff we can do or can't do. It's really up to us. So we have complete control. We own these assets. They're ours. Nobody can tell us that they don't like the color on the website or any of that bullshit. We just basically build all this stuff out and we make money. We send them phone calls, because after all, the business owner is only interested in the results. He doesn't really care how we get there. He doesn't care if we're on Facebook, Twitter, or not. He doesn't care if we're ranking for every keyword on Google or not. He doesn't care, he doesn't care about anything other than the fact that he's getting phone calls and he's making money. Okay. So going forward, do you think if I got this guy up to $30,000 or $40,000 a month, do you think I could charge him more money? Most likely. Absolutely. Sure. Why not? Why wouldn't he pay an extra $1,000 for another 20 grand? A good deal for anybody would do that. Okay, so I could actually approach him and say, hey, listen, we can squeeze some more traffic out of this if you want us to, but it's going to cost you another $1,000 a month. Would you be interested? And since he already has a relationship with us, chances are he's going to say yes to that. I mean, it's really, hey, well, you can give me more phone calls and I just got to pay you more money. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that in a heartbeat. So you can see how it's fairly easy for us. What I love about this business model is it's a win-win-win situation. Okay, we win because we get to build a $100 million a year company. The consumers win because they're getting a good quality company that we represent. Okay, and we can monitor that. All right, we can actually, get rid of the low lifes if we need to. And the second part of this is the consumer and the businesses win because they're getting more phone calls that they wouldn't have had before. They didn't do any of this marketing. They didn't know how to do any of this. And we've just really scratched the surface. I mean, this is me doing a few hours here and there over the course of a month or two to get to this level. And really, I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't done very much of anything with this account at all in the last 4 months. And, as you can see, it still needs some work. But you know what? It's generating money. That's all I care about. The guy's happy. He's generating money. Okay, I'm happy because I'm generating money. Okay, and I don't really have to do much for it. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view of the company, where we're going to be focused to. I don't want to get distracted from this main mission right here of building assets, selling those assets, getting those clients, and building this company up to that level. What we do with this company down the road is we have hundreds of different directions we can go as a consumer advocate company, as a business growth company. We can do all kinds of things, and we may do multiple things. There's nothing stopping us from growing this in several directions simultaneously. So anyways, that's enough of my ramblings for today. I just wanted to give you some look behind the curtain, if you will, and give you kind of a 30,000 foot view of where I want to take this and what I want to do with this, and get everybody on board with this mission, okay, if you will. This is our goal. This is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. I'll get into in future videos some of the more basic, if you will, educational components that will start telling you technologically how we're going to achieve some of these things, but also how we're going to sell this and some of the processes behind how we determine niches and what kind of customer service issues we will be faced with and things like that. So there's a myriad of information that we have to address. So this is just kind of scratching the surface, as you can tell, and maybe it's generating more questions than answers. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the mission of the company. Our tagline, by the way, and I might as well put that up there. Taglines usually don't mean anything, but I like this. The company name, by the way, let's start with that. Best in Town is the actual name of the company. I have a company existing which will own this, just so if you see it, you'll become familiar with it. It's called Internet Marketing for Business. And that's abbreviated down to IM4B, okay, which is the .com, part of the .com. We do have a .com for Best in Town also. If you see Internet Marketing for Business, that was the original DBA for myself back in 2009. That company still exists, and it will be probably the major shareholder of Best in Town. Best in Town will be the $100 million a year company. That'll be the brand. Our tagline, that's what I was doing. Why shop around, call the best in town. Okay, that's our tagline. I like it. Seems to work. Why shop around? Call the best in town. It really helps to drive home that, consumer vision. Why shop around? Just call the best in town. That's us, and that's what we hope to do in the future. And I think with your help down the road, we can all achieve this. This vision of mine has been brewing for a long time. I'm very excited about it. I am somewhat frustrated on a day-to-day basis because I can't get there fast enough, but I also have to recognize that I have my time limitations, and therefore, we have to take this in baby steps. As much as I want to be running and doing all the fun things that we can be doing with a $100 million a year company, I have to recognize that we still have to build that part first. So it's going to take work and it's going to take time, but it should be a lot of fun along the way. It's a very, how do I say this? It's a very fulfilling job, because when you call a business owner and they're receiving those kinds of phone calls, and you're helping them to hire more employees and grow their business, they are really happy to talk to you. I mean, it's just a joy to talk to those guys when you're having such a positive impact on their business. Same thing with consumers. Nothing is more fun than hearing a consumer tell you about a great story about how happy they are, how satisfied they are, and so forth. I mean, are we going to have those situations where they don't work out? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that we'll run into a few of those now and then where things didn't quite work out the way they should have, because that's just part of life. But I think that if we can consistently deliver the quality phone calls to the businesses, and the businesses that we represent can consistently deliver great service to the consumers, then we're going to be helping everybody around town and really become the best in town. That's really what we can be, is we can represent the best in town. And that's our mission, and that's our goal. So thanks a lot, and look for the next video. I hope this was not too long. Thank you.